You're listening to That's Camellia podcast, your go to podcast for powerful conversations that spark growth. I am your host, Camellia. This podcast is going to explore raw, insightful dialogue that empowers you and uplifts you and challenges you to make a change. So get ready to be inspired. Before I let you go, real quick, I am offering one-on-one and group life coaching sessions to help you achieve your goals and live your most empowered life. These coaching sessions will help you along the way on your growth journey. And I also have some even more exciting news. I want you to be inspired by my new ebook. It's called It's More Than Salt. It's More Than Salt. Now available on Kobo. It's your perfect companion to take on your next break. Read it, share it with your friends, and let's empower each other. For more information on my coaching sessions or my services, head over to my website, that'scamellia.com. All right, let's have a conversation.
Yo, hold up. I woke up, got out my bed, it was a sunny day. Brush my teeth, clean my skin, cause I love my face. Ain't got time for all that stressing. I'm receiving all my blessings, got the love.
All right, welcome back to That's Camellia Podcast. Today, let's talk about thriving through menopause and living authentically. Wow, that is a mouthful, and I have been getting questions about menopause, navigating midlife in this whole season, and a lot of a lot of examples of women who are living their lives authentically and to the full, even though they're having to go through some of these menopause things that we have to go through. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I want to answer some of these how-to questions or what about this Camellia questions that I've been getting lately. So let's jump right into it. So, my friends, ask me how we can live this life authentically in this messiness of menopause. It could be messy sometimes, also magical. But I mean, these are real aspects of our lives that we are going through. So can we have some real talk? Some unfiltered real talk. So I've been getting some of the questions. Thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming, ladies. We're going to get through this thing together. That's how we do life. We do it together. And where one succeeds, thousands will succeed. So one question asked me, just some real talk about menopause and then this sudden rage of just wah! Fire that comes in us, right? It's like it's like a fiery dragon or some type of volcano that is waking up on the inside of us just all of a sudden. And you could be just washing dishes, sitting at your desk, and then all of a sudden, this big hot flash of a flame. Now, it might be moments, and depending on who you are, it might be minutes. Oh, and oh my goodness, if it's minutes. But these sudden rages of fire, these hot flashes, they could feel like you could almost breathe fire, like, but first, I do want to tell you, whoever asked this question, you are not alone. You are not alone. And some of the things that I have learned to do throughout my season is what I found helpful is to recognize my triggers. So just start paying attention to what sets you off. Is it a specific person, a time of day, a certain food, certain cravings that you have, any particular situation? You got to spend a little time identifying what your triggers are so you can prepare. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, we don't have the same triggers. We don't. Our lives are not the same. Our lives are uniquely different, and so are our situations and our circumstances. But one thing I know for sure, All women will go through some type of menopause, and our symptoms will be different. So you will need to spend a little time to recognize your triggers. Okay? Find some time to just start recognizing what your triggers are, what sets you off. And then I would suggest finding some type of whatever that is that helps you release that tension. For me, I love walks outside. I love walking outside to get away. It's my way of detoxing. Whatever that is for you. I mean, I like to walk outside. What is it for you? Some people might be screaming into a pillow or dancing to loud music or just screaming out loud in frustration. But whatever that is, you have to have a mechanism that you use where you can physically release it. Now, with that, I would also encourage you to practice some mindfulness, deep breathing. You probably already heard this, but until you've gone through it and you've actually had that moment where you said you felt that hot flash coming on, and then all of a sudden you took a few deep breaths, like just deep breath. Inhale slowly, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly. It sounds simple, but it can really help calm your nervous system down, calm you down, so you don't have to make a rash decision in a situation. And also just communicate. Be careful though, because most of the time when we're feeling calm, we can explain things to those who are close to us and experiencing hormonal changes. And if we're irritable, we won't be able to explain it. I mean, just ask, I would say, just ask for patience and understanding. If that's your spouse or your family, ask them ahead of time. Just asking for a little grace, a little grace, and give yourself grace. But I think we have to be mindful of how we communicate, because when you're calm, you can communicate exactly what you need. But when you're upset, you tend to express what that tension is. And in words, you can't take them back, people. You cannot take them back. So be careful about how we communicate. And you know what else? Sometimes just removing yourself from the situation is the best thing you can do. If you know you're getting your trigger is a specific situation, go to another room. Go outside, take a quick break, go walk. Whatever that is, let me remind you, hot flashes do not have a time schedule. They will show up wherever, whenever, don't matter what you're doing. They show up whenever they want to. They're not on anybody's schedule. So sometimes removing yourself might be easy because you could just kind of like when that hot flash happens, you can just escape to a colder place or hope you can get to a colder place. Whatever that is, you try to escape to it. But you might be in a meeting or at work, you can't escape. So you just practice mindfulness, deep breathing, right? Okay, I got another question. This was funny to me because this is still an area that I am working on, okay? I said these are life episodes. We go through this together, right? So I had one of my friends ask me. I had a listener reach out to me and they asked me a question. I said, "How do I manage this brain fog?" I mean, unpack how I not feel like I'm losing my mind. So brain fog is it's this it's like wading through this thick, thick cloud, gray cloud, right? You just seem foggy where you just go into a room and can't remember what you went into that room for. Oh yeah, I know I have a lot of people who understand what I'm talking about. But you feel like your thoughts are scattered and you can't quite grasp anything. Or you say, you know what I'm talking about. You be in the middle, you're sitting and saying, what was I? Hold on, give me a moment. I understand that feeling of, what was I coming in here for? Wait a minute, what is that called? What am I trying to say? You know what I'm talking about, that part. And some things that I have been doing is making sure that I am getting the proper amount of sleep. I know it's easier said than done, but I try to aim for anywhere from at least 7 hours of quality sleep every night. So that to me means I'm creating this quiet atmosphere, this relaxing atmosphere every night so I avoid any type of screens right before bed. I'm making sure I like the room dark, but don't I'm not kidding anybody when I say I could fall asleep at any moment. It I could just relax and I am to sleep in about 5 minutes. Anyone who knows me knows that I love sleep and I will take a nap. And I would say there's different techniques and foods that we can eat that can nourish our brain. So balanced diet, this is a struggle. This is a challenge for me. I am always trying to prepare myself to have good snacks on hand because I'm a muncher. So by that I mean fruits, vegetables, almonds, walnuts, pecans, healthy snacks around that we can eat. And these are beneficial for our brain health, is what I'm told. So being prepared when you go into the grocery store, buying those healthy snacks. And if you're going somewhere, dropping a little small bag of almonds in your bag or banana or apple, whatever your thing or type of fruit or nut you like. I think packing an extra little snack with you will help you. It'll help just brain health, right? Staying hydrated is something else. One thing, dehydration, what I've read is dehydration can worsen brain fog. So drinking plenty of water throughout the day. I know sometimes, especially if you work from home, it might be easier for someone to work from home to just keep refilling their water. And it depends on if you're on site. If you're working on site, it might be easier just to take a big gallon jug of water and drink it throughout the time period. But making sure that we are hydrated, because I'm told that dehydration can worsen the effects of brain fog. I would also say my grandmother, she always has crossword puzzles with her. She does a lot of brain memory games on her phone. So even though we still need to limit our screen time, there's a limit, as moderation, everything in moderation, right? But engaging in activities that challenge our brain, like puzzles, crosswords, learning a new skill. If you want to do something new, learn a new hobby that's still engaging our minds. It's never too late to learn something new. Never. And I am a plan. I'm a check boxer, right? So I like checking off things as I complete them. I start my day with a task, things to do, what's the most important, and I work on that list throughout the day. And I like the benefit and the reward of checking off that box that, oh, okay, I did that. Did you know that having a systematic system in place will help you with brain fog? So something as simple as writing things down, setting reminders, breaking down tasks into smaller steps. I talk about that in one of my coaching sections about procrastination. But breaking things down and checking that box off of things that you need to get done, that can help with brain fog. So those are just some tips that I am still working on in my life currently today. So you don't have to try everything all at once. Just give yourself some grace. Can I say that again? We have to give ourselves some grace. And we're not designed to be perfect. No one was created to be perfect. So you have to give yourself some grace and find what works for you and perfect it and keep doing it, right? I had another question that came over. Now, this one says, how do I talk to my partner, my spouse, about these changes that I'm going through? Ah, this is a big one because we always say it. Open communication is the key, right? I think navigating any life transition requires open communication. And let me add another word to that: requires open, transparent communication with your partner. So choose a right time and a place. Now, you know your partner better than anyone else. So choose a time when they're receptive to listen. So maybe it's a quiet place, maybe it's your relaxation time, your detox time after work, but just find a place without distractions that you and your partner can talk. And be honest and vulnerable. Share your feelings, your experience in a clear, direct way. That means use I statements, and I'm feeling overwhelmed by these changes or that change, rather than blaming or accusing. It's not about them. It's about you want to communicate what's going on with you when you're going through this menopause stage. Okay? And take that opportunity to educate your spouse. Explain what menopause is and what it is to you, because menopause to every woman will be different. It's not a cookie cutter. We will all experience it in different symptoms, different seasons in our lives based on our health conditions, based on our age, but we will experience. So explain it to your spouse, to your partner, what that means to you, where you are, physically, emotionally. Just be transparent as possible. And there's a lot of resources out there available. I have a couple of interviews from Dr. Mariah and Deshauna Franklin on my podcast where I interviewed them, and there's a lot of resources available. So make sure you look up some things and try what works best for you. And after you have shared your transparent information, your transparent season with your spouse, I would say listen to their perspective. Give them a chance to kind of ask questions and express their concerns. It's a two-way conversation. It's not just one way. It's not a dialogue. It's not a one-way conversation. It's a dialogue too. So you want their input. And I would say to just emphasize that I want to say that we're the same person while we're going through menopause, but our spouse and our children can probably tell you we're probably not while we're going through it. Especially if you have one of those symptoms where you're irritable. Oh, you can go from 0 to 100 real quick and not even realize you did it. So I would say that you are the same person, except for when those symptoms hit you. How about that? Find ways to connect. I mean, make time for intimacy and connection with your spouse and your partner. And it's going to look different. It's going to look different for each and every person. So, whether that's cuddling on the couch, taking a walk outside, or simply, having one of those transparent conversations. If both of you are communicating and you're not afraid to seek help, it is going to be rewarding in your relationship. Menopause is just not about physical changes. It's a profound emotional and spiritual and physical shift that's happening in our lives. We're asking ourselves, ladies, like, who am I now? Or what do I truly want? Why is this irritating me now? Yeah, so I would say it's okay. It's okay. And you are not the only person that has said that and has been through it. You are not. So I want to make sure I share my stories about this whole season of menopause because it threw me for a shock. Even though I had evidence from my older sister, I was still in so much denial until it just slapped me in the face with these hot flashes and night sweats that I was like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. I would say, though, remind yourself that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and your youth is renewed like the eagles. This still doesn't change anything that's happened in your life, but I would just say go back and listen to the interviews, the podcast interviews with the other women and how they're surviving and striving in their menopause stage in lives. And think about how you are still thriving. You're still here. You might be going through menopause, but you're still here. And you have a community here on That's Camellia podcast to help you and to support you. So let me know any other questions that you may have. Oh, I just appreciate all of you who have reached out and continue to ask the questions. So thank you so much for joining me. So remember, you're not alone on this journey. Embrace your authentic self and ask the tough questions. In order to grow beautifully, we have to ask the tough questions. We can't fear doing things hard. We can't. So until next time, be blessed. And remember to leave a review on my podcast. Share this episode with a friend or whoever you know who needs to hear it. Submit any of your Ask Me How questions for future episodes on that'scamellia.com. And you can find That's Camellia Podcast on any social media at That's Camellia on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you have any other questions, make sure you reach out, like, subscribe, and follow. Until next time, friends, be blessed.
Feeling good, think I might just pull up on my granny. We watch that Wheel of Fortune while we eat that turkey chicken. She tell me that she been thinking one day I'm gonna win a Grammy. I say now shout out to my barber, that boy on a mission. Got my line so crispy when I talk they pay attention. And my lady is so bad, swear she was born in her bag. Had to give her extra cash to go tip her beautician. Like how you look that good, I'm about to show you off. Let's pull up through my neighborhood. You said my partner tried to